We just had our first solo victory cup of the season and it went interestingly. Unfortunately, we still had a whole bunch of cheaters running around, which is the whole purpose of this format. A lot of pros are really upset they're playing 6 weeks of qualifiers for 1 finals, but there are a lot of good moments and things I want to talk about from the Cash Cup and gas up who's been playing really, really well in what is a tough meta for solos right now. I also want to go through some insane leaks about Chapter 7. We potentially have huge LTM game modes coming back and the return of boons. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Before I talk about the solo Cash Cup though, I really want to talk about some leaks we have for Chapter 7. I haven't talked too much about the leaks, but these ones look insane. This is one thing I've been asking for so long now. We are getting upcoming reload events. We are getting Venture, Floor is Lava, Oasis, Storm Never Stops Moving, and Slurp Rush. All water is slurp and storm damage is increased. Now, that's a little bit confusing, but basically what's going to happen, we think, is there's going to be different events happening in reload on those different maps at specific times. Now, I really want to see this potentially moved into competitive. I've been talking for the longest time how I think they'd be really fun if there was one tournament a week that was way more casual. Pros would still enjoy playing it, but put a decent prize pool, not huge, but a decent prize pool into like a Floor is Lava tournament one week. Next week can be a one-shot tournament. The week after it can be the Protect the President game mode we used to have when the John Wick season. There's so many fun LTMs Fortnite's come out with across the years that I think would make for phenomenal tournaments, and I think the pros would really enjoy playing as something to blow off some steam, have a bit of fun, still competitive, still a chance to make some money, and then casuals could come in and actually compete and potentially make the finals because the game modes would require skill, but they'd be, you know, a little bit different to what pros are used to practicing all day, every day, and they'd have a chance to play and get some money as well. I just think it would be such a fun style of tournament, and this is the first step towards that. If they run them as reload tournaments with these kind of mini events going on, I think that could be incredible. Even outside of tournaments, these mini events just seem really, really cool. Reload definitely getting a lot of focus and attention from Fortnite because it is an extremely popular game mode for a reason. I do hope Chapter 7 we go back to, you know, regular Battle Royale being bigger maps, longer games, 100 players, and then Reload stays as the quick, fast-paced game mode. I know a lot of people have liked the pacing of the Simpsons season, and I think for a mini season it's perfect, but I think Chapter 7 we definitely have to kind of differentiate the Battle Royale from Reload. If you want quick, super fast-paced games, it doesn't matter too much if you die and you get in, you get out, you play Reload. But Battle Royale, you jump in, you loot, you play for the end game. Hopefully Rank 2.0, which we still don't know about yet, hopefully Rank 2.0 creates some super stacked end games and there is an actual difference between the Reload and Battle Royale game modes. But super crazy events like this, I think fits Reload perfectly, and I would love Fortnite to take this one step further and do some kind of tournaments during these events, or also just have LTM tournaments in general. Please, Fortnite. Just quickly before jumping the rest of today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Samsung. If you guys have been watching any of my content this year, you know I've been absolutely loving my Galaxy Z Fold 7. I took it with me to Globals for all my IRL content so I could have my Twitch chat and my YouTube chat on the same screen, split down the middle. The 8-inch display makes it so much easier for playing games when I'm on the go. I've actually been able to get my first mobile Fortnite win. It has a super powerful Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset with a 4400 milliamp hour battery, meaning I can make content in game all day long. I absolutely love this thing. And to make things even better, they're now doing a Black Friday sale up until November 19th. If you're an Australian resident, you head over to Samsung Australia's website by clicking the link in the description down below. You'll get $400 off. Trust me, you won't regret it. The next major leak we have, and this might make some of you really happy or really sad depending on how you felt about them, we have Lulu leaking a whole bunch of boons that are coming back in Chapter 7, which means obviously we're gonna have boons. Now, before I talk about the exact specific ones we have and my thoughts on them, I do want to talk about my thoughts on boons in general. I don't actually mind them, and I think they can be really, really fun. It just takes Fortnite putting a lot of attention and a lot of focus onto which ones are strong, they feel rewarding, and they feel worth actually picking up and using, and which ones just feel kind of useless or super overpowered. So in pubs and ranked and whatever, I think, or especially pubs, I think rank should stay competitive. I think pubs should have some pretty goofy boons where they just feel crazy and they feel fun, especially if you want to give casuals a chance to beat better players. Super powerful boons that they get their hands on, they give them a chance to overcome a better player. I'm a huge fan of in pubs. Now, ranked and competitive, I think you just kind of dial those boons down. You don't put them in, but there's still some really cool, interesting things they can do with the boons to kind of fit specific playstyles. And I've realized I've never said boons this many times in my life, but in case you don't know how they work, they've been in previous seasons and chapters where basically you just find them around the map. Either players can carry them or you can take them off chests, or sometimes you have to unlock them and do cool things to get them, but they give you some kind of an ability. You might get one where it heals you while you're swimming, or you might get one that lets you heal while you're in a bush, and a bunch of stuff like that. They can do some really fun things with them, and honestly, I'm a fan of them. I would much rather this than like the old kind of, you know, augment system we had, which was kind of cumbersome, and you had to keep selecting your augments, and it was kind of like a bit of an inconvenience, and it never really felt that good. Towards the end, it was just like the third shot of your pistol does 0.3 more damage than the last shot of your pistol, and it was like they just didn't really feel that cool or interesting. So I hope boons don't go that way, but based on this list that we have, they sound really cool. So we'll go through the ones that we know are confirmed coming in chapter 7. So aerial shooter, glass cannon, igniter, last shot, low ammo power, shield breaker, and super pickaxe. Going through these, a few of these I think are decently easy to figure out. Aerial shooter, I don't really know whether that'll be you get some kind of bonus while you're in the air, or if you're shooting someone that is in the air. Doesn't sound too crazy. Glass cannon, I'm imagining this is some kind of potentially, I've been asking for this for a while now, some kind of a way to deal more damage but take more damage. A lot of video game context, when someone's a glass cannon, it means they're dealing a lot of damage, but they're very, very easy to take out themselves. So it could be some kind of boon that gives you a damage multiplier, but then you've received more damage, which I've always thought would be really cool. Igniter, I'm guessing something to do with flaming bullets or fire in general. Last shot probably does extra damage. Low ammo power, when you're low on ammo, your shots do extra damage. Shield breaker, some kind of a benefit when you break someone's shield. That could be marking them on the map. It could potentially be some kind of a slowing effect. There could be lots of things they do there. And then super pickaxe, which sounds kind of cool, and honestly these sound really interesting. I hope they are ones that actually benefit specific playstyles as well. I really like when Fortnite adds things like the boons or the augments like they did. Again, I didn't like the augment system, but I liked some of the augments because they did actually change the way you could play the game. If you got one that gave you a benefit for swimming, then you might actually change how you play the game to swim more and things like that. So I hope Fortnite goes more down that route. For the most part, from what I can see with the comments, most people are pretty excited for the returns of boons. They are just fun and they give you a little bonus and they're good, but they're not really completely game breaking, and they're not really annoying to use or find, and they're not super complicated. So I'm a huge fan of this, and so far chapter 7 is looking like a banger. Now let's talk about our first solo victory cup. Now this one was an interesting one. I think a lot of pros didn't realize that it was 2 qualifiers and 1 final, because oh boy, a lot of pros ended up starting the tournament and not too many of them finished it. So if you don't know how the format works, it's a little bit weird. It's 2 3-hour qualifiers, so 6 hours of qualifiers to then play in 1 finals for 1 hour, 3 games. If you win a game, you make $200, but you also have to get top 1,000. So there's only going to be 10 lobbies running at a time, and you have to win one of them to make money. It's going to be extremely hard. It's $200, not $100, but I don't think Fortnite cooked with this format. I'm going to be honest. I'm excited for solos to be back, but it is extremely hard to even make this finals, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of victory cups. And then once you get there, you don't really get that many games for how hard it is to make finals. So victory cups before, if you don't know how they used to work, on EU, it was like top 10,000 people made finals. And then they got to play 3 games, 1 hour to make $100. So adding the extra $100 per win is nice, but I don't think it's really helping anyone that much. I'm sure pros who win will be nice, like, oh yeah, cool, an extra $100, but I don't think it's making more people play the tournament to hopefully get there, because most people know they can't get top 1,000. And as far as the pros though, most of the pros don't really care that much between $100 to $200. It's not like make or break for them, especially the top tier pros who don't really care that much. So I'm not really sure who this event's for. I guess it's just kind of a passion check to see which pros really care that much about playing 6 hours of qualifiers to maybe hopefully make $200. It's fun for me to watch. I really enjoyed watching the solos today, and thanks to all the pros who streamed it. And if you guys played it, hopefully you had some fun and you enjoyed it. It's still 2 weeks of qualifiers you can play in, but I think most people really enjoyed the fact that they thought they might be able to make finals, or at least if they weren't currently good enough, they could work their way up to being good enough to make finals. Because even if you're not currently a top 10,000 player, that's still somewhat attainable. But a top 1,000 player on EU, you needed to get 343 points on EU, and you need to do that 2 weeks in a row. You can't even just have one lucky week. So I'm not really sure where Fortnite was going with this format. I mean, I do know where they're going. They're trying to avoid cheaters. If they have 2 qualifiers, they have time to ban the cheaters for finals. But at the moment, we already have cheaters ruining the opens. We had so many pros end up dying to cheaters, way more than I've seen in, recent seasons. And I guess that's because Fortnite's brought back the victory cups. They've brought back a reason for cheaters to cheat, because they feel like there's an actual way for them to make money. Again, I don't understand why people cheat in a video game. I will never get it. But, for the most part, a lot of more people do it for money than just because they think it's fun. So as soon as there's victory cups and it seems like there's a way to actually make money while cheating, that's going to bring a bunch of people back. So I hope Fortnite goes crazy and actually combs every player in this top 1000 leaderboard before they make it to finals. Otherwise, this whole format is kind of pointless. But I do want to still shout out and gas up the pros who are locked in, who are practicing it and are playing it, because shout out them. They have insane passion right now. Again, most people play video games for nothing. I fully get that. You guys know my stance. You should just be playing tournaments for fun to try to improve, since a lot of people who play this game won't ever make money from it. But I do think Fortnite missed massively with this format. On NA, we had a name that probably should be familiar to you, but doesn't seem to get the recognition he should. We had Virgo in first on 504 points, managed to get 60 elims across his 10 games and got an average placement of 19th. Doesn't sound that impressive, but you got to remember he went down in 50th, 33rd, and 76. So he managed to have first, second, fifth, second, first, like insane games. Virgo very much has figured out the meta here in this solo season. In second place, we had Havoc on 462, so about 40 points down the leaderboard from Virgo. And then we had Kurama. Again, I've mentioned this so many times. I gas this dude up any chance I get. Kurama just came third on North America from France on a controller. So whatever excuse you have right now, don't know if it can hold up against that. Kurama's doing it on controller, the worst input, on 150 ping. My man is just an absolute demon. If you're looking to try to get better at solos, I would highly recommend vote reviewing Kurama, because everything he does, how he plays, is so methodical. You don't need insane mechs. Kurama has good mechs, but not when he's on almost 200 ping. It's hard to almost do anything. He is just playing methodically and perfectly, thinks everything through, makes great decisions, and it's a really good way to learn in any solo meta. At this point, Kurama's been one of the most consistent solo players on EU and NA in like 5 different seasons now. Whatever the meta is, Kurama seems to figure it out. So definitely check this dude out if you guys want to try to get better at solos. I should mention he also streams all of this live on his Twitch channel. He speaks in French, but it's twitch.tv/Kurama_203. I'll even put a link in the description down below if you want to check him out, because if you can't access VOD reviews or you don't know how, you can literally watch his gameplay live and see how he plays. Scrolling down the list, we had a lot of other big names on NA you'd expect. We had Noah W plays. I think he's one of the most underrated solo players. I think because he falls into that content creator category, he's family friendly. People just don't give him the gas he deserves. He is absolutely phenomenal at solos. Again, also plays all this on stream. We had Scroll, another player competing from EU. We had Epic Whale in 16th overall. Epic Whale has been really dominant in so many different game modes right now. We had familiar names like Muzz in 26. We had Taki up there, Creon. We had Sky, again, 2 EU players managing to do it. We did have a lot of the big names do well. Poyo kicked off with 3 victory rounds in a row, but unfortunately really went downhill after that. Clicks ended up doing really well. He finished inside top 1000. A lot of the big names did, but there's still an entire other week. We still have to see who does it next week. Now, for you Pete fans, Pete decided not to ready up this solo victory cup. Not a huge surprise. 6 hours of qualifiers to only play in 1 hour finals. Doesn't sound like something you'd expect Pete to do. I thought he might go live and stream it, since Pete did say a couple seasons ago his favorite thing to stream was solos, because it's just so fun to just dominate people on stream. But Pete took it off, so unless he decides to play week 2 and just try to qualify in a single week, which is going to be nearly impossible. Again, Virgo got 504 points, and right now it's predicted to need roughly about 600 to qualify across the 2 weeks combined. It's possible. Pete could probably do it, but it's going to be tough. Over on EU, we had no one breaking the 500 point mark. We had Hlekas coming in first on 485 points, getting 5 wins in his 10 games. So Hlekas, insane consistency. 4 of those wins were in a row, so he won an absolute tear in a very low mobility solo meta. That is insanely impressive. We also had Turtle in second, a name you guys probably used to seeing by this point. Prism in third. We had Peshka in fourth, and then Rax in fifth. We had a lot of the big names showing up again. Kurama finishing in 8th. My man got 2 top 10s on both regions in the qualifiers. We had Wheat up here as well. If you guys ended up watching any of the streams, Mr. Savage and Mongrel both having solid performances. Both of them are on pace to qualify if they can do it again next week. Mr. Savage even went live streaming it on his birthday. It was fun to watch. They were getting a bit frustrated at times. Mongrel is now working with Blood X again in all game modes, so that's gonna be awesome to see his improvement again. Hopefully, we had Hari up there in 26th. We had Vico in 25th. I am expecting in the finals, if we're gonna see who tries to get the wins here, I do think Cammy is gonna be one of our favorites after the insane solid performances he's had recently. T&E could be another one to look out for as well, but it was a fun tournament to watch. But we still have a whole nother qualifier to go. Any of these players I've talked about, if they have a really bad week 2, they will not qualify. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts. As people played in the solo cash cup or watched it or just maybe didn't play next, you didn't like the format, what are your thoughts in the comments down below? What format would you prefer? Do you like this format? Would you like to bring back the regular one? I understand Fortnite does have kind of some restrictions when it comes to cheaters right now, and they're trying to find solutions around that, but I personally think this one maybe missed the mark. But again, you might disagree, you might be loving it, so let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it.